Hey guys, it's Will here and welcome back to another 40k bat rep. Tonight my Necrons are taking on Adam's Eldar. This is actually going to be the second part of two bat reps we did. First we did my Eldar against his Necrons, and now we're switching around my Necrons against his Eldar, because we both collect both armies and thought it'd be a good chance to see how our different lists compare, learn a few things from each other and generally have a good fun couple of games. Now with this one, we may give spoilers to the first one, so you might want to check that out first. I'll pop a link in the description. It's quite a good game, and yeah, so check that out. But if you've already watched it, then stay tuned. We've got another game for you. So neither of the armies here are complete. They're both still work in progress, in the sense that he's still learning Eldar. There's a few models that aren't quite finished, and he's still collecting new bits, working out what he wants to do with his list. And my Necrons were built for a previous edition. I think I originally did them in 5th, and I've used them to some success in 6th and 7th, but have not really added any new units to bring them up to the meta in 8th. So yeah, just bear that in mind. Neither army is what it will be. It's neither of them at their final form yet, but yeah, should still make for a good game. And I say it was quite fun learning, you know, how my Necrons differ to his, what I can learn from him, what he can learn from me with my Necrons and my Eldar. And we did another Eternal War mission, which we hadn't rolled for yet at the start of the video, but you'll get to see what that is. And just one final thing to bear in mind: I was a bit tired by the time we played this. I'd just done a 9-hour shift at the end of a long week and already filmed one bat rep, so I kind of pause awkwardly in a few places as my brain has just completely forgotten what a unit's called, even though I've had the miniature for 5 years. It's suddenly escaped from my memory, so yeah, don't judge me too harshly. It'd been a long day. But anyway, without further ado, let's jump right in and see the lists. Here's my 2,000 point Mefrit Dynasty Necron list for tonight's game. So down here I've got my Overlord. He's packing a War Scythe and a Resurrection Orb, and he also has the Veil of Darkness and the Immortal Pride Warlord trait for that all-important Dispel, which, quickly glancing over at Adam's list, is going to be quite important, I think, because I see a Farseer and a Warlock. He's got his little buddy the Cryptek there, Veil of Chronometron and Staff of Light there. And then for my troops, 2 big units of warriors, one a 19, one a 20, to make good use of the Mefrit stratagem. And then, yeah, 10 Tesla Immortals. Tesla is a lot better than I originally thought it was, and again, the Mefrit Dynasty really does help with that. Supporting them in my elite slot, I've got a single, what's it called, Triarch Stalker with the Heat Ray, and over here we've got the Annihilation Barge as my heavy support with the underslung Tesla Cannon. Then I've got my fast stuff, 6 Wraiths, 6 Destroyers, 5 Tomb Blades, so you know, actually got some units that can almost match the Eldar for manoeuvrability here. Yeah, those are the old Wraith models, the original metal ones. So yeah, that is 2,000 points of Necrons. It's going to be interesting to see how this goes up against our old nemesis, the Eldar. And do not adjust your monitors, this Eldar army really is that shiny. This is Adam's 2,000 point Alaitoc Creftword list. So down here we've got his Farseer, Guide and Doom, because that's what you run on a Farseer, and he's got Seer of the Shifting Vectors for an extra reroll once per turn. Backing him up is this rather nice Warlock proxy here, the Mistweaver from Age of Sigmar, and that guy is running Conceal Reveal as his power. Then for troops, we've got 2 units of Dire Avengers and 2 units of Rangers. The Rangers, as you can see, have a few droopy guns because Failcast sucks. And yeah, it's a pain that Adam has had to deal with the Finecast troubles there. Then he's got a unit of 6 Howling Banshees with the Exarch with the Executioner. Unit of 5 Warp Spiders with the Exarch, who actually does have the Power Blades there, as well as the double Reaper, double Death Spinner. 3 jet bikes with the shuriken cannons, and then 2 units of Dark Reapers. I think he wanted to run more, but this is all he's got together at the moment. So this unit has the... are you actually running that as the ENL or the Reaper launcher?
Reaper launcher.
Just treating that as a Reaper launcher. And then over here he's got the Tempest launcher. Then we have a heavy support detachment, Spearhead. So we've got Falcon with the... that's the scatter laser on there, and this does actually have the shuriken cannon. He got this off eBay second hand and it needs chopping and changing. 3 fire prisms. I've never faced a fire prism before, and tonight I'm going up against 3, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do, especially as it's a unit I'd like to add to my Eldar at some point. And leading that detachment, he's got Illic Night Spear. Finally, he's got a couple of flyers, 1 Hemlock and 1 Crimson Hunter. What power's your Hemlock got?
Jinx.
And that's got Jinx. So, yeah, that's always something to watch out for. As we saw in our earlier game with my Eldar, Jinx can be a very potent power when it goes off. So, very different Eldar army to the one I was using, and certainly a lot of things to worry about here. So for tonight's mission, we've rolled up Roving Patrol from the Eternal War missions. So this will be interesting. We have to split our forces, and the deployment map is going to be the frontline assault one. So it's kind of a modified Dawn of War with a pointy bit in the middle. So I've already split my forces up. So on a 1 or 2, it'll be my Cryptek, a warrior unit, and the Annihilation Barge. 3 or 4, I get another warrior unit, the Stalker, the Tombblades, and my Overlord. And on a 5 or 6, I get Destroyers, Wraiths, and Immortals. So that's a 4, so it's going to be the Stalker, the Tombblades, the Warriors, and my Overlord. So Adam has much more in the way of multiple small units in his list, so he's got quite a few more units in each split of his force. So this one is a Fire Prism, the Farseer, Rangers, Avengers, Spiders, and the Crimson Hunter. Second blob is the Warlock, another Fire Prism, Reapers, Rangers, Avengers, and Jet Bikes. And the final one is the Falcon with the Banshees inside, Illic Night Spear, another Fire Prism, and the Dark Reapers. And then Adam, would you like to roll to see which detachment you're getting?
1, 2, 3.
Yep. So that's a 5. So down here it's going to be this force. So he's got his 2 tanks, his Reapers, Banshees, and Illic Night Spear, which I think is a pretty good starting force. Anyway, let's get on to deployment. In this mission we place 1 objective in the centre and then 1 in each deployment zone. So mine's down here, Adam's is over there. Ignore the numbers, they're just all worth the same. Put my warriors in here in the woods with my Lord along with my Stalker to sort of support them, and Tombblades here to try and gain some cover from potentially very nasty early Eldar shooting. He's got his Banshees in the Falcon there, Fire Prisms over there, and Reaper's got a commanding position up on the hillside. Over there is a Hemlock that we actually forgot about in deployment, but as this was the smallest group, it was put in with that, which is, yeah, even more for me to deal with. I've got a bad feeling about this because he really outranges me. I haven't got a gun above 24 inches, and we're not within 24 inches. He's got huge range on some of these weapons. So I'm really going to need first turn here. Luckily I do have the +1 because we finished deploying the first. And I got a 6. And he got a 1. So I will be going first unless Adam wishes to seize the initiative. No, it's a 5. So yeah. Oh, and Illic Night Spear, although he was in the initial group, doesn't turn up straight away because he's Illic Night Spear and does what he wants to do. Thank you very much. So one peculiarity of this mission is that you start rolling for your reserves from the start of your first turn. So I brought on quite a significant reserve force already. The Wraiths have come on down here, need to get them much further forward before they'll do anything, but it's a start. Annihilation Barge has come on, as have the Immortals and the Cryptek, and I I'll pop my Veil of Darkness to bring these guys all the way over here, so I could target the Dark Reapers, and as you can see, it was quite a successful volley there, and the Dark Reapers are gone, so that's one quite scary unit out of the way, and my warriors in a dangerous but potentially effective position. Also stepped up my Stalker, so it was in range with its heat ray, and put 4 wounds onto the Falcon, and the Tomb Blades snuck up behind here but failed to hit anything with their limited shooting at this range. So not a bad start, but I really am scared of the potential Eldar Retribution because there's so much firepower in that list. The Eldar Retribution was as swift and deadly as I expected, so we've got all 3 Fire Prisms now on the board, along with another Reaper unit, and the Crimson Hunter, and some Rangers. But scariest of all is the Howling Banshees that ran out of the Falcon. Shooting was pretty darn effective. He was able to take 3 wounds off my Cryptek with Illic, almost blow up my Triarch Stalker with the combined fire of the Falcon, one of the Fire Prisms, and the Crimson Hunter. To be honest, it should have done a lot more, but Quantum Shielding saved my butt so many times there. Unfortunately, the Wraiths didn't fare as well. They ate Reaper launchers and then linked fire Prism cannons, which reduced my Wraiths to dust. It was a horrifying sight, and the Hemlock took out 3 of these guys, so I need leadership for them. No, they're fine. And the Warp Spiders materialise, they're ready to do something next turn. And then the Banshees and Illic assaulted my warriors and my Overlord, killed my Overlord. He's still there only thanks to a stratagem, Resurrection Protocol, bringing him back. And he cut down a bunch of my warriors for no reply. Hang on, I just need to quickly count up how many are there and then take a leadership test. But yeah, not a good start. Oh, and the Warlock has snuck in behind the Falcon there, ready for next turn. So yeah, a good turn for Adam there. Eldar Firepower doing what Eldar Firepower does. Pretty tough turn 2 for the Necrons, to be honest. I only got my Destroyers in as reserves, and that was only after burning a command point, and my Immortals sort of hobbled up, still out of range. Used a command point to give this damage protocol overrides to target the Falcon, because otherwise it was just not going to hit, and yeah, failed to hit despite that. Over here, the Annihilation Barge failed to do anything to the Crimson Hunter, sorry, Hemlock, and the Destroyers only put 3 wounds in total on it. It's yeah, very hard to hit. Over here, the Overlord, now out of combat, swang or charged into Illic and killed him, which was my one small victory of the turn, and the Warriors did kill 2 Banshees. The Tomb Blades failed to resurrect anyone from my reanimations. That was kind of the story of the start of my turn, was poor reanimation rolls. And I just shot them over here to try and threaten the Rangers next turn. But yeah, not a great turn, to be honest, and there's more Eldar to come. Only turn 2, and yeah, I'm getting kind of decimated here. So reserves this turn were the Jet Bikes and the Farseer. We've actually still got 2 units of Avengers and a unit of Rangers that haven't come on yet, but the firepower this army is just putting out is scary. As you can see, he's blasted my what's it called, Annihilation Barge off the table with the Fire Prisms, and the Crimson Hunter has taken out 3 of the Destroyers. Over here, the Banshees took some nasty casualties in the assault phase from my warriors, but they're getting pretty reduced as well, and the Tomb Blades are gone. Overlord went from the the Hemlock tried to kill him, used his Jinx to reduce his save, but then I managed to roll 5-6 on my invuns, so we were okay. But the Rangers finished him off. They were guided by the Farseer, so yeah, pretty nasty. And yeah, it just doesn't feel like this army's big enough. Oh yeah, the Stalker was also blown up by the other fire prism. Those 3 fire prisms, just a brutal fire base for this army, and it does feel a bit like my Necrons haven't got the manoeuvrability for this mission, especially not when you're facing an army with such long range firepower. But hey, I've got another unit of warriors to come along, and it's not over yet. So with so few models left on the table, my turn was quick and somewhat ineffective. Brought on the 1 unit of warriors from reserves, but having to go all the way back here was a real hindrance. Pushed my mortals up and shot at the Crimson Hunter because it was the only thing in range. Did 1 wound. Destroyers did alright, did burn a command point or 2 to get the shots off, but managed to wreck that warp spider unit in there. And the warrior unit over here put 1 wound on the Banshee Exarch in combat for no damage in return. So not terrible, but nowhere near enough. And I think Eldar turn 3 is going to consist of most of my units getting vaporized. 3rd Eldar turn, and the last of his reserves turn up, but to be honest, they were a little bit late for the party because the Eldar have basically already won. The Crimson Hunter flew around here and took out the last of the destroyers with a little bit of help from the fire prism, or one of the fire prisms, and then the Hemlock took out just 1 from this squad, but managed to doom the Immortals, which meant that when the Rangers and jet bikes and Falcon fired at them, they took huge casualties despite just being in range to get my Cryptex Invuln save. And then these guys here lost huge numbers to the fire prisms. Over here, not a lot happened. I lost a warrior, didn't do much else. But as it stands now, I have so few warriors left and just no manoeuvrability. I'm never going to get to the objectives without having to trudge for 3 turns right down the gun sights of those 3 fire prisms. So I think at this point we are going to call it. Good game, mate. Played really well, crushed it. And there we go. As often is the way with 8th edition 40k at the moment, by the end of turn 3 it really was a foregone conclusion. He just had so much firepower. He was just able to pick my units off before they could really get in range to do anything, and even when they did, it was mostly against units that could just dodge out of the way. I mean, as I've said before in some of my Path of the Warrior videos, Alaitoc is such a strong build for Creftword. It's the only way really to do resilient Eldar, and combining that with the range he had and the mission allowing him to, you know, be so far away from me, because a lot of my units were coming in just 6 inches from the table edge. I had to cross so much ground, and those fire prisms, just too much firepower, and I feel like even if I had got close to him, he could have just easily pulled them back. You know, have a turn where they go fast rather than shoot lots, and yeah, just pull them out of the way. Wasn't really a lot I could do. Now, I could try and argue that, oh, the mission didn't suit my list, and, you know, that's true, but there comes a point when you have to accept that, you know, lots of missions don't seem to be suiting my Necron list at the moment, and maybe I need a new list, but I kind of knew that anyway. And on that note, if there are any Necron players watching this, then let me know in the bottom, you know, in the comments, what you've been running, what you've been having success with, because yeah, I've been really struggling to get the hang of how Necrons should be successful in this current codex. I get the feeling I need a Catan, the Deceiver, but then if you watch my last bat rep against Adam, his Deceiver certainly didn't do him any favours, so yeah, it's interesting. As for Adam's Eldar, well, yeah, the firepower and the manoeuvrability there had me. Particular standout was the fire prisms. I mean, yeah, he had 3 of them. He'd invested a lot of points in them, but the damage they were doing, just blowing resilient, large Necron units off the board in just like 1 turn of shooting. It was quite something to behold. Quite tempted to get one for my own Eldar, to be honest, although that temptation may be held back by the fact that I need other stuff as well, got other ongoing projects, and they're competing for heavy support slots with my Dark Reapers, who are much more thematic to what I'm running, being built on, but also yeah, are really good. Other unit I was very interested to see the performance of was the Howling Banshees, because I've actually been working on some for my Eldar army. And initially I thought, oh well, they kind of ran into the Necrons, did a little bit of damage and then just fluffed and died. But actually when you look at how many points that unit cost, that was under 100 points. Whereas the Necron unit they took down was 240 points and was getting buffs and support from the Overlord standing behind them, so that's more like 350 plus points. And yeah, the Eldar killed the Lord one, or the Banshees killed the Overlord one time. It was only because he cheats that he was able to get back up, and held up that warrior squad for a couple of turns. So I think actually the Banshees did really well, and I'm excited to try them out myself. You know, maybe picking a softer target that I can cut down, or maybe running a slightly larger squad to increase the damage output, or just using them as a really cheap small tar pit. But yeah, I think that is about it. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye.